pursue other paths in life. So I took a couple years off to do triathlon full time, basically, and the writing was on the side as like a fun project. But yeah, that came to end about a year ago, and when I joined Lightship, and what I do, I run the finance and business side of the company here. So that's been fun for different reasons. It definitely pulls in a lot of my experience at Tesla, but it's kind of a new frontier in ways, and so really enjoying it.
Well, we've got the recording started, so we can start the meeting now.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I was super excited to talk a bit more about Lightship and some of those things that are going on. Jump ahead. So one of the things that is quite a little bit of part of my journey, and I think a journey of a lot of people who are at the company, is that we didn't realize quite how big RVing was as a market. You know, beyond light vehicles, passenger vehicles, RVing is among and oftentimes the largest other category of vehicles produced in the U.S. 1 in 10 American families owning an RV, and there are close to 500,000 of these shipped in 2022. There are a lot of vehicles, and in certain areas of the country, it'll be a lot more than 1 in 10. If you get up into Montana and the Dakotas, and we're closing in on 1 in 5 people owning an RV. So that means annually $25 billion in North America, much larger when you go globally. And then when you think about all the auxiliary services around it, it's $71 billion in North America. So a really big slice of the pie, and often one that's a little bit overlooked. So we're constantly having people interview for the company and say, RVing, I've never thought about that before. And then they get into it and realize that there's a market that hasn't really been touched by electrification to date. It's just starting, and is also a really big one. State of the art. So one of the things that combined with the size of the market is that the market hasn't really changed a lot in a very long time. There is some innovation going on, but it's kind of slow. And one of the things that's happening is that 3 players own about 90% of the market, and so the incentive for innovation is lower too. One of the really fun stories about the founding of Lightship was that our 2 co-founders, Ben and Toby, went on a road trip, and they tried to go on an electric road trip, towing an RV with a Model X. And what they realized is that as they took their road trip, they had to kind of keep stopping and dropping the RV trailer off and go find chargers for the vehicle, and then come back and hook up again and carry on. And it didn't really make a lot of sense. And then when they pulled into to the RV parks, everyone fired up their generators, and it became kind of loud and noisy, and they were really kind of a anathema to the EV experience that they were hoping to have. The other funny part of the genesis of this idea is Ben worked with us at Tesla, and we'd be at Tesla and we'd be going out for lunch, and all these people who'd just been working on RVs would come out to the back to get lunch, and all these food trucks would pull up, and they'd be all these kind of propane generated food trucks. So sitting outside an EV company, people would be spooling up these generators and giving us lunch, and he thought this was the worst publicity stunt that we could have, to have these things outside our headquarters. And so his thought was, look, we got to do something better, both for the experience of towing a vehicle, but also for when you get to the place, can we make this a cleaner, a quieter, more an experience that kind of is more one with your outdoor surroundings. So kind of looking to take on some of these state-of-the-art challenges. One of the things that Ben and Toby, our co-founders, have been very fortunate to do is they got some really good traction among a good team early on. So we kind of have a variety of people across other EV companies and other hardware companies. This is showing the team as it was as of this spring, but we've added another 5 to 10 people. So the company is now approaching 40 people. It should be towards the end of the year approaching 70, and eventually we're imagining a workforce to help with production that could be 100 people additional in the local area. So we're really excited to have some great talent, but also to be providing a range of opportunities for people across the board, and especially in the Denver area. We launched the vehicle this March at South by Southwest, which was a super fun event. This is a like kind of a splash of what it looked like there, and we had lots of people over the course of several days, and it was a kind of a day and night event, and there were musicians playing, and then there was a lot of exciting press that came out around that, and one of the quotes that we really liked was from Motor Trend, which called it a travel trailer galaxies beyond its dinosaur ancestors. So there had been a lot of funny analogies, and people constantly twisting the name Lightship. We've gotten light year and all these kind of things as well, but Lightship it is, and it was kind of an exciting start. We started taking pre-orders at South by Southwest too for production starting late next year. And really excited that we've got a huge slew of pre-orders in the queue now, enough to build a lot of production, and we're continuing to see those roll in as we kind of take the vehicle around the country, and take it to various events and show it off to other people. So here's the exciting bit: is what is the product about? So one of the really interesting things in RVing is that there is a large portion of the problem for EV towing, which is the one that we're going after primarily, is that aerodynamics, first and foremost, is super important in how efficient your vehicle is going to be. And a lot of the existing vehicles on the market are not designed for aerodynamics. They are very boxy and square, and they're also quite tall, which makes sense. So we've tried to attack this problem from the ground up. I'll get a little bit more into the electric side of the whole thing, but first and foremost, you just need to make the vehicle more aerodynamic. And so what we've done is create a version of what you might have seen as like the high-low trailer of the past, where basically the vehicle shrinks when you're towing it, and expands when you have it stationary. And the result of that is that we're able to get into an aerodynamic streamline behind the tow vehicle. And in testing, our vehicle is 3 times more aerodynamic than the next best trailer, which makes a huge difference. So obviously it helps a lot with your EV range, but also helps people who were to tow this with gas vehicles. So today, if you were to tow an RV, as you may know, with a truck that gets 24 miles a gallon, you might get 10, or you might get 8. If you tow our vehicle, the idea is that you would get 24, and so that'll help people towing with gas trucks to save a lot of money too, and save fuel, which is our climate side of this whole push. Yeah, and the zero range loss thing, I will talk about this as we go, but this is our goal for people towing with EVs. So you don't have that bend and Toby problem where only getting 100 miles and having to drop your RV off. We want people to get their full range that they have on whatever their tow vehicle is. So if that's 300 miles, we want you to get 300 when you're towing. So we have that. So this is kind of a X-ray vision of our underbody of our vehicle, which is, some people might describe as kind of an EV skateboard that you kind of have under the vehicle. So you've got a large battery storage, larger than anything else that you'll see in the market. There are other concepts of trailers out there. However, we're proud to say that all of our electric systems are upsized significantly from what you might see in these other concepts. So we'll provide 80 kilowatt hours of batteries in the vehicle, which is as much as you might get on a passenger car. And a 20 kilowatt a drive motor. Importance of that is, as the vehicle, so this is the real key thing, because we've had a lot of people ask this question: why does it have a motor if it's a trailer? The answer to that question is, we are trying to get the trailer to essentially push itself behind the vehicle. So while you might be towing it with an EV, if you didn't have a motor on it, you might, let's call it, you would have 100% of the load behind your vehicle. Here with the motor pushing, you might only have 5, just enough to allow the tow vehicle to guide the trailer down the road. So this doesn't need to be a huge motor. It doesn't need to have a lot of horsepower. It needs to be rightly sized so it can kind of keep the trailer moving alongside the tow vehicle. There's some other super exciting stuff we've done around the power electronics system, which I can talk about later. We're really fortunate to have the guy leading our power systems led development of battery and power systems at Tesla for a very long time. So he kind of is quite familiar with what we need to do here, and there's a lot of exciting things happening in power conversion between different voltages and so on. The other really exciting thing about it, and so again, as I talked about us kind of upsizing the systems that exist on the current market, you might be able to get 500 to 1 kilowatt hour, 500 watts to 1 kilowatt of power in existing solar on kind of RVs today. Will give you 2 to 3 kilowatts, which is really important because it means that people can get closer and closer to basically sustaining themselves on the basis of the power production they're getting from solar. So as an example, what might this mean? It like an average family with a small home might use in electricity alone 20 to 25 kilowatt hours of power a day. They might use power in other sources as well, but 20 to 25. If you have a 3 kilowatt hour vehicle, a 3 kilowatt vehicle, and you run that for what we think you might get peak sun for 4 to 5 hours, you could get something like 15 kilowatt hours of power production in a really good day in the right conditions. And you're not using as much power RVing as you are when you're at home. So you could get pretty darn close to actually sustaining yourself on solar alone, which is something that we're really excited about, that people could go off grid. We think that at the end of the day, the real limiting factor is going to be people's ability to get fresh water. Obviously, if you got hookups, that'll help, or if you have filters, that'll help. But it's exciting to kind of move the problem away from how much can you get off of solar production, or even propane, even though propane lasts longer, to just how much can you get off water. The other really exciting thing about this is it will be home connected. This trailer. So what's really exciting about that is when you come home and you park your RV in your driveway, and normally it maybe sits under an awning or just sits in your driveway, and it kind of just sits there, and you might use it as an office, but you might just be an idle asset. We really want to increase the utility of RVs beyond just those moments that you're actually taking a trip. And so you can connect your Lightship to your home and use it as an auxiliary source of power production, energy production. So basically, if in low electricity use conditions, you could be covering a lot of your home power production, home usage by using your trailer, which is super exciting and should reduce your home energy bills as well. One kind of curious thing that we've stumbled upon as we were doing this whole process is that we're able to offer or suggest to customers, and they apply for themselves, a investment tax credit on the vehicle for the solar coverage, because the solar and storage system is significant enough that the vehicle technically qualifies as a dwelling. And so people can buy a Lightship and then apply for a tax credit, which is roughly $7,000 on the entry vehicle, like you would if you installed solar on your home. One of the other things that we're working on is integration of controls and interface, and that's really exciting because if you go into an RVs today, you'll kind of have distributed control systems across the vehicle. You'll have maybe one thing to look at your tank levels, another thing to look at your solar production, if that's how your vehicle is set up with solar. We've taken all of these systems and integrated them into one user interface. And so you'll have, like you have in modern EVs today, you'll have a single digital display that will show you all of your statistics that you need and allow you to control them. So control lights, control your climate systems, monitor your power, kind of really exciting development. And as we go to, this will be expanded to, we intend there to be an app that you could use on your phone to allow you to see information about your vehicle when you're not there, or like you would have an electric vehicle, see if it's locked or unlocked, or if anything's going on with the vehicle. Kind of a really fun step forward. The other thing that's important to say is that we've also tried to significantly change the RVing experience. Kind of as I was talking about at the beginning, of having not seen a ton of change in RVs over time, and sometimes with good reason. People have kind of nostalgia for the vehicles as they've always been. We thought that there was space in the market for a concept that felt totally new. And so what we've tried to do is create this kind of open, airy feel around the vehicle that lines up with the EV aesthetic. And there are kind of more window coverage, more visibility than you'll find in any other RV out there. And one of the things that our chief designer is excited to say is it feels like you're bringing the outside into the vehicle. It brings you closer to nature, which is our goal. So the other thing you'll notice that was interesting is, by nature of this vehicle collapsing on itself, one of the design challenges is we cannot have vertical walls in the vehicle because there's no space for those. The thing has to shrink down. So there's no floor to ceiling dividers or walls like this, except for the exception of the bathroom, which actually the panels slide by each other so you can have privacy. But because of that, it allows you to again have more headroom. And the other exciting part about this contracting, expanding thing is actually the interior height of the vehicle is 7.5 feet, because we're able to expand to greater heights. So you will have more headroom in the vehicle too than you will in any other RV, and that kind of also maybe improves the user experience. So yeah, it's definitely a new feeling, a new aesthetic, and maybe for some people will take some getting used to. Other people will love it right away. But trying to show something new and modern in the vehicle as well. One other thing to say about Lightship, let me see, I think this is my last slide, is I think there was a vision for the company that is still early days, but an idea to expand RVing and the experience that we offer around RVing into other areas as well. And so in early days, what we really want is to target these things on the left-hand side of the slide, which is, first, we just want to deliver a great product to customers. But over time, we definitely want to make sure that other things around the RV ecosystem are strong. So we talked a little bit about home power backup and energy storage in times when you might have home power outages. But we also want to go beyond that. So we want to expand the demographics of people who are able to access RVing. And we think to do that, we really need to offer rentals and other ways of people accessing it who don't want to buy an RV and have a place, maybe don't have a place to store it. So this is something that we're kind of tapping into as well. And we think there is kind of a new wave of people who definitely experienced RVing during the pandemic, or kind of heard friends who did, and would be excited to get in the Lightship, and we want to get the vehicle in their hands as well. Beyond that, there are visions of the company. This is really early, and so it's just kind of a taster where we think there are other things around the RV experience that could potentially be improved, and those things are around the place that you can go to with your trailer, what you might think as RV parks today, or things around that more broadly. There are opportunity to maybe improve that experience and bring people closer to the outdoors, and also the community, to make sure that people can kind of tap into others who are on the road and have shared experiences there too. So kind of as we go, there are visions to kind of expand beyond just the vehicle into the fuller experience. But lots to still do there. One final thing to say is what you're looking at here is one of our prototypes, and we really love this shot because we got the vehicle up to Marin County in California, and we got it up into some of the hills overlooking the ocean, and we got a beautiful evening where we were able to get some people out to test the vehicle, and some awesome shots related to that, and it really was fun because it felt like things were kind of coming to life a little bit, and we could imagine how people might use it in the future. So yeah, that's kind of all I've got on the prepared slides, but yeah, happy to answer any questions and talk more about what we're doing at Lightship.
So how does the motor work as far as how does it know how fast to go? So does it sort of sense how fast it's going now and just give like 95% push at any point, or what?
Yeah, there's a really cool system that we built into the hitch area of the vehicle, of the trailer, where there are load sensors that we've integrated into that hitch area, so those sensors can see what kind of force is being exerted on the trailer, and as a result, we are able to send signals to the motor and say, okay, looks like the vehicle in front of you is accelerating, also you should accelerate, or it looks like there is deceleration, and then there will be braking that would occur, or we're turning, or so there are a bunch of information that's going from that area to the motor to make sure that it's a consistent, reliable experience, and also a very safe one. So we got a really kind of significant and built out controls team that's working on this problem, making it better and better every day.
So, and if it goes uphill, then it gives more push, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it'll be constantly changing how much force is being generated by the motor to accommodate for all of the conditions that it's seeing. And definitely when it slows down, there'll also be regenerative braking, right? Which is one exciting thing today, is that you might be just going downhill and you might be taking huge load on your tow vehicle or on the brakes of your trailer. But within our system, you'll have regenerative braking from the motor itself. And so actually when you're going downhill, you'll be generating energy that you can store in your batteries and use later.
And I mean, if if the vehicle that's towing it like suddenly slams on its brakes, you can like instantly, I mean, this is really quick reaction time that where the Lightship will immediately reduce its motor capacity there.
It should. I mean, we're talking electrical signals that are going extremely quickly. It should. The experience should be at least as good as what you have in trailers today. But yeah, obviously these are things that our team is working really hard on making sure are as good as we can.
So is this set up to have like standard charging on it like a car? So you pull into a place and you have two separate chargers going at the same time, or how does that work?
Yeah, that'll be how it will work. Yeah, we'll have a charge port on the outside, and so it will be a standard charge port that you can use with any vehicle chargers. And yeah, you pull into a charger, and if you need to hook both up at the same time, then you will. That'll be easier in areas where there's like pull-through chargers, so you can get a setup there. But yeah, should be compatible with anything that's out there today.
Are you using NACS?
We have recently, with all the movement that's happening in charging infrastructure, we have recently made the decision to move over to that system. And so that's what we'll see on the vehicle as well.
What's the of the trailer?
So we are estimating that the fully loaded weight of the vehicle will be 7,500 pounds. So yeah, it is a heavier trailer. And that's as a result of, all the batteries and the infrastructure that's there. We've done significant things in other areas of the vehicle to lightweight it, like using composite materials, but it is equivalent to vehicles in this class that are premium trailers of this length. So it's a 20, 28, 29 foot trailer. And so that comes with a lot of weight. But yeah, unfortunately, that allows us to be towed by a large number of SUVs out there, the bigger SUVs, EV trucks, but it does not allow us to be towed, unfortunately, by things like a Model Y, which a lot of people would love to use, or smaller, some smaller EV trailers.
So Rory, just to share with you, I was one of those original Model X owners and got mine in 2016 and then bought a pop-up camper, and then we towed a pop-up camper. So I feel like I'm hearing my story, but a modern version of it, and we towed it all over the place, and we would do driving with it, and we would use the car's battery to power the pop-up camper, and we did all sorts of amazing things. So I'm so excited that this is coming for everyone else. But yeah, even the Model X, it's a 5,000 pound max towing capacity, but it's awesome.
Amazing. Yeah, that's you certainly have some of kind of the shared experiences that caused us to come up with some of the ideas that are in the trailer.
It's great.
I'm really excited because I'm already ready to put one of these in my backyard and put it on Airbnb, because I'm one of the first 500 Airbnb hosts in the world. This is my 15th year. I just had my 15th anniversary of being an Airbnb host, but I really want to change my room that I ran into an office, because I really need an office, but I can't. I hate to give up my Airbnb room number 590, but I could put this in my backyard, right, and put it on Airbnb, and it would be really popular, and then I could have my office.
Yeah, absolutely. We're definitely excited.
How much of its own electricity will it generate if I have it in my backyard?
So depending on the model you'll get, there'll be different models that have different amounts of solar coverage. The one that has the most solar coverage will be 3 kilowatts. And so if you get a day with, really bright sun, you might get 3 kilowatt hours in an hour. So yeah, you could over time, if you had 4 or 5 hours of sun, you could get 15 kilowatt hours a day.
I live in Denver. We have a lot of sunshine.
It's good place for it. Yeah, I mean, in really sunny conditions, you can get more.
Oh, this is fantastic. How do I order one?
You can go onto our website, lightshiprv.com, and or take your reservations.
And when would I get it? Do you think in 2025 maybe?
We'll start building in late 2024. And so yeah, depending on how quick we can build in Broomfield will be the answer.
Oh. The answer to all my problems.
That was fun. Was that a picture of the Model X with the pop-up?
Sorry, yeah, I can show you.
Yeah, let me pin you. Hold it. Keep it there for a minute.
I can send it. So this is actually up in Glacier.
Cool. Super
So
cool.
yeah, we took it all over. So we're definitely in the I've got over 220,000 miles on my X. So we took it all over the US and Canada. And to your point about driving, towing, charging, range, like it is a pain in the butt for sure, but it was just something we were willing to do to see if it was possible. But I recognize most people won't tolerate that. So
Yeah. How far were you able to get on a charge?
I think if we drove as efficiently as possible, but flat or maybe slightly downhill or something, it would be on mine. I had a 90 kilowatt battery, and I abused it too, right? Because we'd have to charge to 100% every single time. So I might get on on with great conditions 140 miles. And this was
Okay.
back when the infrastructure, like there weren't chargers every 100 miles, right? Like we had to be very careful about it too. So now there's more, and I'm actually in the industry where I'm helping build out the EV charger infrastructure. So I'm always one that's pushing like, no, you need a spot. You've got to have a pull through spot, because I know the personal pain of having to unhook and find a spot for the trailer. And even mine was just a pop-up, right? So a pop-up would just fits in a regular spot, like, right? So for something this long, you have to have 2 spots just for the trailer. And yeah, so so this would be that much more painful. So pull through is definitely necessary.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Cool. Very cool. Cool to have some real life examples out there.
So, if you're let's say you're pulling it at like 70 miles an hour or something, and then suddenly it runs out of battery, so the motors stop. Is that going to be a problem if suddenly, here's your car going with like 0, pulling basically 0, or I don't know, not quite 0, but not much. And then suddenly there's this, 7,000 pound, force going backwards.
Yeah. That's a really good question. So the first thing is we would want to make sure that we are providing information to the driver to prevent a situation like that where something suddenly changes. So like I talked a little bit about integration with phone app, while we haven't fully thought this out, one way we could think about it is give you a notification, your Lightship's only at 10% battery, so or other ways like this to make sure that you're not surprised. However, what we're also suggesting for people is that you should not tow the Lightship with a vehicle that has an insufficient tow capacity for the weight of the Lightship. So I know sadly this takes the Model X off the table, because in conditions where you're going in a straight line, the vehicle will not be experiencing the same weight as it would have been, in a non-propelled vehicle. However, we want to protect for the situation in which, like you say, the trailer's not pushing itself. You should still be able to tow. So we're saying you should at least have 7,500 pounds of tow capacity to pull it. So if you're not able to propel yourself, you're still okay. Hopefully, I'd have to talk with our power systems team about how they manage that situation. But hopefully, it would also not be an instantaneous cutout. There would be a fade, so that you're gradually taking on more weight, and so it's a more stable transition. But these are things that we need to develop.
I mean, I'm trying to think of the physics of this, and hopefully there's someone here who's more of an engineer than me. But I guess if it's accelerating on its own, it wouldn't be any different than if you just pulled it from a stopping point. I don't know. I mean, as far as the force going back, I mean, what I'm kind of envisioning is suddenly you have this big weight, and that's going to be more than its weight. You know what I mean? Because you're going so fast. But maybe that's not the case because it's accelerating. I don't know.
Yeah, I think when the motor is not pushing itself, you should be experiencing the same forces as you would with a other trailer of the same weight. I think we won't be applying any brakes or anything, nothing to add to it, but so you should be okay in those situations. But hopefully there's enough warning that you're ready to manage it, and there's no problem with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't rely on users to do the right thing though. I mean, they may be fine with it. I mean, they may say, okay, it's got this much range and we actually have further, but I'm okay with pulling it the rest of the way, so they might be okay with that situation.
Yeah, so especially if they have a gas truck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That might be a situation they use that. Yeah.
So go ahead.
Sorry, Julia. So when you were describing kind of how the motor kind of pushes it along, I was picturing, tell me if this is completely wrong, but I was picturing those like shopping cart motor things, right? Where like you hook that to the back of the row of shopping carts, and then
Right.
do you know what I'm talking about? And then like the guy's at the front and he's pulling the first shopping cart, and then the like little cart things at the end, and it's pushing them along, and it matches his like rate, right? So
Yeah.
however fast
Yeah.
he's going, the motor matches. Is that about accurate? Is that basically what it's doing?
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, it's just trying to mirror the forces applied by the tow vehicle, to get as close as possible. And yeah, and hopefully do that, like I said, with electrical signals instantaneously, so it's really responsive. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think you got it.
So these nice windows are, I assume that they're like shades or something that will go on them.
Yes. So there are two options for the windows. One is just standard shades, and that's something that we've thought about a lot, because obviously privacy is a concern for people, and also because it's got a lot of area, we don't want it to become a greenhouse. We want it to be cool, or we want it to be warm, depending on what you're looking for. And so accordingly, we've also thought about the sizing up its HVAC system, its climate control system, so that, you know, the conditions are comfortable for people. On the entry level vehicle, you can get shades. There will be an option that we're developing and intend to put in production at this point in time, which you'll see if you look at some of the videos online, where we've applied a PDLC material, which is this material that it goes opaque or goes clear depending on if an electric current is applied through it. So it provides that shading, but it also provides a super cool feature. You see a lot of people who are at South by Southwest, who are taking videos, and they're going around and they say, please do that again, you know, and suddenly, you know, the window is dark and it goes and it's immediately clear. You'll see that it happens in more in buildings these days, but one of the exciting things is that there are a few suppliers who have now migrated that technology across to vehicles, and we're excited to be kind of one of the first vehicles that are trying that as a option for people to use.
What's that called?
The film is called PDLC. I don't actually know what it stands for, but yeah.
So do people use that in residential buildings as well?
I
Or is it
assume
too
that
expensive?
I assume that it's been used in some areas. I don't have too many examples, but the existing materials out there, because they're mainly for real estate, I'm sure that some people put it on residential as well. You'll see it a lot in like office spaces where people want to have that privacy option to have a meeting that's then, you know, without pulling down a blind, they suddenly have more privacy. So yeah, similar.
I mean, it seems like it would be nice. I mean, this is off topic, but anyway, it seems like it would be a good thing if it were like heat censored or something. So you could like just have your house automatically, if too much heat's getting through the windows, it would just kind of automatically do that.
It's a good idea. Pass it along to the team.
Well, yeah, yeah. So, just a second. I just want to put those, yeah, there we go. Want to read more about that PDLC stuff. So, a little bit about the company. So first of all, I mean, it is an EV basically, and I know that EV companies, you know, it's hard to get up. It costs a lot to get them started and stuff like that. So how are you guys getting funded?
Yeah, good question. So to date, we're funded by some insiders, and then as well as that, we have a large bench of investors, venture capitalists, who have funded the company. So we've raised $27 million to date, primarily for these large firms who are interested in carbon reduction. but as we grow, we're expanding our bench of investors. There are now more people who are interested in us solely as an RV company and the returns we can get. And we'll continue to raise money until we get to full scale production when we're cash flow positive and just using sales to fund the business. What we're really excited about is the way the plan for the company is going. We're able to, by nature of RVs starting the premium market being robust and being higher priced, we think that on the basis of this first product alone, we'll eventually get to a point when we can fund the business solely based on operations. So we just need to get the vehicle out there and get the sales pipeline strong, and that will be sufficient for us. But as we go forward as well, we have visions to produce smaller vehicles that are lighter and towable by more people and accessible in a price point by more people as well. So that may modify our strategy too as we go forward. But yeah, we're really fortunate to have a kind of a robust bank of investors who believe in us and continue to support us, and that's put us on really good footing here.
So is it less challenging than a actual EV as far as the amount of money that you need to get started? I mean, I can imagine an EV is more complex, has safety requirements that also require, complexity, and so maybe the manufacturing and tooling and stuff might be more complicated. I don't know.
Yeah, no, really good question. So one of the things that we're doing is we're primarily an integrator. And so as a result of that, only in certain cases are we actually developing the individual components to build up the entire vehicle. But what I mean is, like an EV company like a Tesla is building its own battery. We're not doing that. We're procuring the battery system from someone else. As a result of that, significantly reduces the amount we need to invest. The other thing is RV manufacturing at this scale, because our volumes are much lower than a big automotive company, is a lot less capital intensive. It's a more manual assembly process, more labor heavy, and we can really reduce our capital requirements on that and not require us to bring in so much money. So surprisingly, yeah, we're talking like magnitudes less investment required than you'd see out of a big automotive player.
Well, Rory, if you need someone to test out the L1, I could try essentially but long range with a Cybertruck. Let me know for 2024 to cross country road trip and see how the thing works compared with the old way of doing it with an electric vehicle. I'd love to help.
Perfect, awesome. Yeah, and I will share some details with you, Julia. We're thinking about bringing the vehicle to town here, and right now it's been in some shows in Utah and California, but bringing it around the Denver metro area so people can see it, and maybe some people in your group would want to come by and see what it looks like in person. So I can
Yeah, absolutely. And when you get your production facility up, it'd be fun to take a tour if you guys are giving tours as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. We're always excited to get people involved in the Lightship community.
So I kind of outside the DEVC mostly, I do a lot of EV shows with I set some up myself, but with Drive Electric Colorado, if you've heard of them as well. So they're an organization kind of funded by the government a lot. But anyway, they put on a whole bunch of EV shows where you just go with your EV and then talk to people, walk by, and stuff like that. It's not a small vehicle, but that might be an opportunity if you wanted to go to some of these.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'd love to see those details, definitely trying to get more people thinking about us, and the EV community is definitely really important because that's a core demographic. So yeah, that would be interesting to hear more.
Curious, why did you choose Broomfield for your production? Like, why Colorado in general, and what kind of
Yeah.
drove that?
Yeah, really, that's a really good question. Part of it is just a company values thing, is that the one of the co-founders grew up here in the Denver metro, and wants to make the area strong and bring manufacturing here. The other thing is it's a pretty nice balance between having some manufacturing here already, aerospace being particularly prominent, but there's some other companies in the area.
Where'd you go?
Uh-oh.
Whoa. Oops.
It wasn't for the good internet connection, apparently.
Well, I guess
Good until then. Well, hopefully he'll rejoin. I guess we only have 2 minutes, but